It was definitely an opportunity for people to air their support or objections to anything the administration's doing regarding the COVID virus that's going around.
So just to break it down, how long was whatever business you guys had to take care of in the 7-hour get-together? How long did you spend on your business, and how many of the 7 hours were people grabbing the mic and telling you what they thought?
Well, this meeting, we didn't vote on anything. All it was an opportunity for the committee to hear the opinions of the public. And that's I got to grant Chairman Bagley and the members of the committee some credit, because people on both sides said, you know what, people should be able to talk. They should be able to say what they've got to say. And that's why it was 7 hours. It was planned for 4 hours. But when we saw it just wasn't getting through the crowd of people that wanted to talk, the chairman said, well, we'll go ahead and stay if everybody's good with that. And people agreed. So I was very happy with that part of it.
I would imagine that tempers were running a little short. I would imagine tempers were running shorter toward the end of the 7-hour meeting than at the beginning. Is that
not really?
It really?
They tossed people out before y'all started.
Yeah, it was really at the very beginning. There were some people in the crowd that, of course, don't agree with or didn't want to or had an exemption for wearing a mask. But those that were wearing it were not happy with that. So they asked for those people to be removed or mask up. And to their credit, some of the people got up with no problem and went to another room. And then there were a few that just didn't want to go, and they had to be, let's just say, encouraged by the sergeant-at-arms and the staff to
Come
move
on,
out
they
of
were
there.
grabbed by the arms and dragged out.
Since I've already jumped to one illegitimate conclusion, let me try another. Would it be fair to say that the vast majority of the people who wanted to speak their mind at your 7-hour committee meeting yesterday, Mr. Raymond, there were more anti-maskers than pro-maskers? Would that be fair?
That would be fair, but, that wasn't the whole purpose of the meeting. That was just one aspect. But, yeah, there were 3 rooms of people yesterday, which is you don't normally see down there on one subject, one committee meeting, particularly one that's going to be 7 hours long. And the people stayed for it, which, that's some testimony to their firm belief in whatever they were advocating for. Some were advocating for the choice of masks. Some were advocating against mandatory vaccines. It ran the whole gamut. But I would say that the people that have problems with the way the administration's running things now, they don't have problems with people that are taking the mask or wearing the mask or taking the vaccine or whatever. They just don't want that forced on them, and they do want to have more information. And that was something that I brought up is part of the problem the public has with these measures is they see some inconsistent and incomplete messaging. For instance, I found out that LDH is doing vaccine shots in partnership with McDonald's and Krispy Kreme. Now, is that a health message or what? We need to have a healthy body in order to be able to resist this virus, and yet they're saying, we'll make this concession. We'll just do this where the food is least good for your immune system. So the partnering they're doing and some of the decisions they're making don't show a total care for the health of the people.
I listened to some of your questioning of the health experts that were there, and you really honed in on a lack of trust. Do you see that across your district, and do you hear from people who just don't believe the message from the government anymore?
I certainly do. And the people that we heard from some doctors yesterday, one in particular that was fired because she held a different view. And it wasn't the view that I don't want to vaccinate anybody. It was like, hey, there are some things here that we're not communicating well, or maybe we're not doing treatments. That was a big thing, is instead of just sending people to the hospital and giving them, a bad prognosis of just wait until you're bad enough to go to the hospital, how about some treatments now? Matter of fact, Dr. Cantor said masks may work. He actually said those words, masks may work. Well, we know some things, some vitamins and minerals and good exercise and all. We know those things help, but those aren't being advocated at all. They're advocating for something that may work, but the majority of people seem to object. So I said, if you want trust, do all those things they support, and add some information about health, and then maybe they'll trust your other messages. But that's not what they're doing.
Raymond, we're talking to State Representative Raymond Crews, who was in the Health and Welfare Committee meeting. He's a member of the panel. You brought up some things that I want you to explain, because I got a little bit
Pibbed?
not quite pibbed, but like you brought up St. Tammany Parish video of a hospital that's virtually empty. You brought up a case in your family where you're in a waiting room at a hospital and there's nobody else there. Are they lying to us about the hospitals and being full?
Well, that was my part of the trust. I don't deny there are hospitals overrun, but that's not consistent throughout the state. And to have St. Tammany Parish officials go and say it's D-Day, they're the words they use. We've never seen it this way. And that very night, from what I understand, the civilians went out there and took pictures with their phone and video, and there was nobody there. The officials had said there was lines around the emergency room. There was nobody outside. So that if you are going to say something like that, it better be that way right then, because people are going to look at it and they're going to go, wait a minute, are you telling me everything or not? So they've got to say the whole truth. Just like we have to say on the line, say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Don't just give partials so you think you can get the people to believe what you want to believe. Tell them everything and let them make a choice.
What is your message, and what is this committee's message to parents today who don't want their children forced to wear a mask in school? They still have to do it? Can they challenge it? What are the options?
Boy, that's a great question, Aaron. I mean, as a parent, you got to do whatever you think is best for the kids. I even heard one parent said, hey, listen, if my kid had to wear scuba gear to school, I'd still send them. So there's a whole gamut of what people think and believe on that. So this is going to be very difficult. I signed the letter to the governor, said let the local school boards decide and let them get the input from their constituents and figure out what does the community want to do, because each one's different. We see vaccination rates in New Orleans are much higher than they are up in Northwest Louisiana. So we got to be more considerate of what the people in that area are thinking. And, that's going to be their kids going to school together. So we need to let it unfold that way.
Do you support the vaccine? Have you gotten it?
I have not, but I am not opposed to people getting it at all. I don't have a problem with that, but I don't like the idea of mandating it. And first of all, let's be serious. It's still an experimental vaccine. It has not yet been approved by the FDA, and that's something they're omitting, and that makes people angry. Say what it is. Say that it does diminish symptoms quite a bit. Say that it has a great potential to save lives, particularly for at-risk people. Say the whole truth, not just part of it.
Raymond Crews, State Representative, Health and Welfare Committee meeting yesterday. Thanks for your time. We owe you more money because that was a long meeting.
Thank y'all, and thanks for the great work you're doing there for the citizens of Shreveport-Bossier and the rest of the state. I'm hearing you from Baton Rouge.
You bet. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Talk to you soon. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports just ahead. Fletcher out. Aaron has that. Here's Ruben.